welcome in to my first podcast on Midheaven is a Place on Earth. I am so excited to finally be here and bringing this to you. And so for this first episode, I would like to discuss the title. How did I come up with it? Well, first and foremost, I am the hugest 80s and 90s music fan, and I could basically recite any lyric to any 80s or 90s song, more so than I could tell you what I did 10 minutes ago. So there's that. I thought it was rather clever because I am an astrologer and midheaven is an astrological term. And so, yes, I would like to discuss what is the midheaven in this first episode for you. And I would also like to give you a little bit of a teaser of what to expect in the upcoming episodes. So yes, I will be talking all things astrology, helping you dig into your chart, talk to you about why even bother with astrology. What is it? How do you pull up your own chart? And I would definitely like to help you dig into it. And I feel it's one of the most amazing holistic tools to dive deep into your psyche and get to know yourself, what makes you tick, and to work with the transits, what's going on in the heavens right now. People ask me all the time, what is going on? What is happening? I don't think it's a full moon, but what is it? So I will be discussing all those things on this channel as well. But I used to be a social worker, and so I was a counselor for years. And since then, I have been doing holistic one-on-one coaching. So I love to combine the mental health awareness with the astrology. I think it is so needed. It is so wanted. People want more than just talk therapy. They want to dive deeper into their psyches. And so I'm here to discuss it all and discuss the taboo topics and to shatter the shame using holistic tools like astrology. And we're going to be talking a lot about my new book that I just published, Shadow Work and Astrology. What is shadow work? What is astrology? How do you use both? So we'll be talking about the book quite a bit, and we'll be diving into it and looking at different sections so that we can help and dive and do shadow work together. I think that we're all calling each other home right now. It's quite an interesting time in the world's history. For those of us who are hearing the call, we know that it's time to drop into our hearts, start speaking from the language of our heart, not so much up here, get out of our monkey minds. And so how do we do that? How does astrology help us drop into our hearts? How does shadow work help us drop into our hearts? How can we use both our mind and our hearts? All of these topics I'm very passionate about, and we will be discussing in upcoming episodes. But for this first episode, let's talk about the midheaven. The midheaven is a point on your astrology birth chart. So it's not a planet, it's not an asteroid. It is a point on your chart that you'll be able to find out when you put in your birth details into an online resource like astro.com. And you need to know your birthday, the year of your birth, the city of your birth, and the time of your birth, the exact time. So when you know the time, you're going to know astrological points and angles, such as the MC, which is also known as the midheaven. The midheaven is the very top of your chart, and you will reach the midheaven in your life. You will rise to the top of your chart when you are ready. So a little baby born is not going to be in their MC midheaven energy, okay? Probably not in your teenage years. Probably not in the 20s. Now, there is no age limit to when you reach your midheaven, but it usually takes some maturity. It usually takes a lot of failure and attempts at trying again and again and again, and just keep going. And then you'll get to that MC, that midheaven energy, when you are ready to rise, and when you are no longer willing to dim your light, and when you are no longer willing to get quiet and people please and just keep up with the status quo. That's when you're going to get there to that MC, that midheaven. And so isn't it funny that I have been planning this podcast in my mind for so long, and I just haven't been ready until now So I couldn't think of a more perfect title for this podcast than Midheaven is a place on earth. Um, isn't it true that heaven is a place on earth as well? And I do want to talk all things supernatural and woo-woo. I love to read tarot and oracle cards as well. I love to muse about supernatural phenomenon such as near-death experiences. And I think that shattering the shame of all these woo-woo taboo topics is helping us step closer to home. We're all walking each other home. And I know that us highly sensitive people and us empaths, people like you that are drawn to this channel, we are one and the same, aren't we? And we have been hearing the call. And the call is to get out of here so much and drop down into here. Dropping into our hearts is what we're being called to do at this time in history. And that's what this podcast will be exploring in the future episodes. And in this episode, I do want to share with you what my midheaven is. So pardon me if you are brand new to astrology and you really don't know what I'm talking about. But for all you astro students out there, my midheaven is at 12 degrees of Virgo in the 11th house. So let's just unpack that a little bit. Anybody that has any Virgo energy, whether you have a sun in Virgo, moon, a stellium of planets, so that means more than 3 planets, or maybe your ascendant, your first house is in Virgo, that would be strong Virgo energy. I have strong Virgo energy because my midheaven is in Virgo, even though I don't have any other planets in Virgo in the 11th house, but it is said that I do have strong Virgo energy because my midheaven is there. So Virgo people are the pure people. So people with a lot of Virgo, you're being called to be pure. So that means, say Virgo's in your first house. I am here to tell you, and sorry to say, you really should watch what you consume. You really should watch what you eat, drink. What are you putting into your body? Because Virgo rising people, so Virgo in the first house, it's written all over your body. If you smoke and you have Virgo rising, you're going to develop wrinkles way quicker than the average person without Virgo in the first house or without Virgo, a lot of Virgo energy. Because you are such a pure person. It's said to be angelic energy. It's where your angel energy is. So we all have Virgo somewhere in our charts. Look at where Virgo is in your charts. The house placement of Virgo is where you can show up in your angel energy. And to be honest, angel energy is the most pure energy. There is no darkness to angel energy, to the angelic realms. It is only love. And it is only truth and kindness. So I am now ready at this point in my life to step into that midheaven MC energy and be pure with my words and my thoughts and my intentions in this podcast. It is to serve you. That is Virgo energy, 100%. Virgo rules the 6th house. That is the service. That is where people serve. So people with a lot of Virgo energy are nurses and doctors and social workers like me and healers that are drawn from a very young age to help. Okay, so it is the service. We want to be of service to people. So I am now ready to be of service on this podcast and explore all the things. Maybe not really the 80s and 90s songs, although I probably will fit that in with my words just for fun. But yes, I will be discussing all things astrology and mental health to shatter the shame. Like I said, I am a social worker, so I have been a counselor for many years. I've done one-on-one coaching, holistic coaching for years. And it's all about shattering the shame, digging deep into why we do what we do, and astrology really helps with that. It really helps you get to the next level of your psyche and understanding of yourself. I am deeply drawn to self-awareness, being an Aries sun. I have a lot of Aries energy in the 6th, which is the Virgo house. So I have such a desire to dive deep into self-awareness. And now that I am finally ready to rise to the midheaven energy, I'm here to serve you and to talk about all the things, answer your questions, and we're going to be diving deep into my new book. I'm going to be picking apart just the little nuggets. There's so many nuggets within this new book, and it discusses shadow work and astrology. What is shadow work? What is astrology? And how to combine astrology and shadow work to get to the next level, to have that glow up, to finally let it go. And I do feel we're all being called at this time to do the shadow work. You know, I avoided shadow work for many years. And when we are finally ready to rise up, when we are finally ready to not dim our lights, to shine our lights, to use our voice, not to dim our voice, that's when you are finally ready to do the shadow work. You are finally ready to do shadow work when you are sick and tired of the same old patterns, the same old BS in your life. You are finally ready to have the courage to say, okay, no more of this. This is no longer working for me, and I would like to learn another way. And that's exactly what this book's all about and what this podcast is all about. And again, in this first episode, we talked about the midheaven, how I am finally ready. I am finally ready with my Virgo energy to serve you on this podcast and to do the healing work that so many of us are feeling the call to do. We are feeling the call to drop into our hearts and to stop with the monkey mind overthinking and to stop with the programming and the repeated cycles and the knee-jerk reactions. So how do we do this? How does astrology help? How can shadow work help? What even does all of this mean? That is what I am here to do on this podcast. So it has been my honor to introduce myself. I am Jenny. My midheaven is in Virgo. I am here to serve, and I cannot wait to start seeing the comments and the questions coming through. But for this very first podcast, just wanted to talk about the title and to give you a little bit of a teaser for the next podcast, which is going to be a look at what the heck is shadow work anyways. So please do join for episode number 2 of my new podcast. Can't wait to hear from you. Share your feedback and your comments, and ideas for upcoming podcasts are very welcome. Okay, take care, and thank you so much for joining. Bye for now.